We're going to do a nail inspired by an Espresso Martini. I've already built out my extension using our Speed Clear acrylic, and we'll jump into our colors. First color we're going to use is called Fancy Schmancy, and that's going to be kind of the top part of the martini. And then we've also got Sucker Punch, which is going to be more of that coffee tone, that darker coffee tone. And we're also going to add in a little bit of Smoky Ametrine just for a little sparkle, a little shimmer to our Espresso Martini today. And we're going to be doing a smile line. And so I'm going to start with our lighter color. So I'm going to grab my monomer here and some table towels. We're going to sculpt in a smile line. So I'm going to pick up a pretty good sized pearl of my lighter color here. I'm going to let that just kind of set for just a couple of seconds before I place it onto the nail. We're going to place it on the nail right up by that cuticle area, and I've got that finger slightly angled downward. So this way my product is going to start to kind of flow down the length of the nail, and it's already going to start to kind of create a little bit of that smile line. So again, we'll let that kind of run and flow just a little bit. I'll lift up, and I think I want to bring that down just a little bit more, so I'm just going to kind of guide that down the length of the nail a little bit. I'm going to clean out my brush. I'm going to use the edge of my brush to tuck in on my sides. So this way we're going to create a little bit more of that elongated smile line. I like when we've got that kind of a coffin shaped nail to have a little bit more of a longer smile line rather than kind of that shorter look. I feel like this is going to give us a little bit more balance between our nail body area and then the free edge. So again, just creating a little bit more of that elongated smile line, just tucking in on the edges with my brush. And as my product is setting, I can get a little bit more of that crisper smile line. So that's why I kind of go back and forth from side to side, really just tucking in and creating really kind of a ledge of product here. I'm going to come around that free edge, tucking that in. And I do try to keep my brush clean, so you kind of see in a couple of spots those bristles where they're kind of starting to kind of poke in there. Wipe my brush, bring that back into shape, and that way I can really clean up that smile line. Now, with the color that I'm using, this is one of our slick pour colors. So this is a colored acrylic. It's an ultra fine acrylic powder though, so it is going to set a little bit slower than say your Speed or your Core products. You have a good amount of time to really perfect that smile line. So I'm going to let this set up, and then we'll come back and show you the kind of that trick on how to really perfect your smile line. Okay, so at this point our smile line is perfectly set. If we tap on that, we can hear that it's nice and set. I'm going to grab a brand new 150 grit file. So this is kind of an optional step. If you have your smile line perfect and you're comfortable with how it is, you don't have to do this, but you can take that 150 grit file and you can kind of customize that shape a little bit. So you can perfect that, make sure that those little corners are both even from side to side, make sure that your smile line is perfect, comes to that nice either point or a little bit more rounded down at the end. But just kind of perfecting that, really shaping that up so that you know that when you get your color on your free edge, everything is going to be perfect. Again, an optional step. If you have your smile line how you want it and it looks good, you don't have to do this. But sometimes it helps to just kind of crisp that up a little bit, really make sure that everything is nice and even. Okay. So if we kind of look from the side, you're going to see that ledge of product, and that's exactly what we want. We want that drop down. We want that really kind of a sharp edge. We don't want our product kind of flowing, especially down over that free edge. We want that really sharp kind of drop down. That's how we're going to get that really nice crisp smile line. I'm just going to go through, dust that off. Now, if you do have any natural nails showing through, you can come back and put a little bit of protein bond on that nail again. We already prepped that nail beforehand, but as you're doing your filing, you may file down to that natural nail. So again, that's why I would put a little bit of protein bond on. If you still have acrylic underneath there, you don't need that extra protein bond. All right, now let's get into our coffee kind of color. So we've got, again, our Sucker Punch. That's going to be our darker color. And then our Smoky Ametrine is going to be just a little bit of that shimmer to it. So we're going to start with the darker. I'm Now, we still want to keep these layers of our color very thin. Because we're only filling in this space here, we're going to keep our colors very thin, and then we're going to leave enough room to cap that with a little bit of clear. So I'm going to take a small pearl of my darker color, drain out a little bit of that liquid, and I'm just going to brush that all the way up that smile line. Just covering all of that nail right through that smile line. Oops, got a little bit on that skin there. Make sure to clean that off if you do get any product on the skin. Clean that off right away. Generally, we don't want to get product on the skin, but occasionally it happens from time to time. So just make sure to clean that up. Now, you're seeing a little bit of product coming up and over that smile line. That's just fine. Anything that's up over the top of that is going to file off. So we don't have to worry about that clogging up our smile line or making our smile line not look perfect. Not a big deal. I'm going to pick up a little bit more. That product didn't quite get all the way to the end. So I'm going to, again, drain out just a little bit of that liquid, set that down, and then we'll just blend that out all the way to the end. So again, we're just trying to create a very thin layer of our color, just enough to give us color, and then we'll add our sparkle and we'll build up the structure to the nail. Just one more small little pearl here right on the end, again, just to kind of make sure that I have really good even coverage and even color consistency. Looks like I pushed a little bit too much off of that off. So we'll grab one more pearl here. Just enough to really make sure my color is even. Okay, I'm also going to check up into my corners here. I want to make sure that I do have enough coverage. So another small little pearl. That one I'm going to drain out pretty well. This way, as I blend that out, I'm going to get a really good solid color without it kind of looking sheer. So that's going to fill in that space. And same thing on the other side. Again, another small little pearl. Drain that out. And just blend that right up into that corner. And then we'll just blend that forward. Okay, so we've got our base color on there. Looks like maybe we missed one little spot over here on the side. Not a big deal. You can always add a little bit of extra product if you need to. Make sure you got that color nice and even. Then we're going to go into our shimmer color here. And this one again is the Smoky Ametrine. So we're going to pick up another small pearl of that. That one I can drain out just maybe a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to set that right in front of our smile line and just kind of feather that up all the way up into those corners. Again, all the way up into the corner. And then I'm just going to start to kind of blend this out a little bit. Just kind of blending. I think maybe I have a little bit more on here than what I want, so I'm going to just kind of wipe that off while the product is still wet, and then just feather that out a little bit. Now, if I want to, I can also add a little bit more of that darker color. I think after blending, it's looking pretty good, but I think I still want just a little bit darker right on that free edge. So I'm going to grab that darker color. And we'll pick up just a little bit more and just kind of blend that up in there. And you guys, the fun part about blending colors like this is that you can really customize it and make it exactly what you want. So add a little bit more of the darker, add a little more of the sparkle, however you want your colors to blend. Just kind of work in smaller, kind of wetter consistency pearls. Okay, that way they're gonna blend really, really easily. Okay, I think I'm liking how that's looking. So let's grab our speed clear, and now we're just going to cap that whole free edge, because if you look from the side you can still see kind of that drop down where we've got our smile line, but then we need to build in some structure here and we need to seal our colors underneath. If you're doing an ombre like this and you were to not seal that over the top, you're going to file out that blend. So we want to use a little bit of that speed clear. Again, I'm just going to kind of drain a little bit of that liquid. I'm going to turn my brush around and I'm going to blend that back. So I'm going to blend that back up into those little corners up there. Same thing on the other side, blend that back up into the corner. Cap all of that color, and then I'm just going to start to kind of press that down the length of the nail, building in my structure and just covering all of our color. seal that in. And then I'm going to take one more look, especially up into my corners up here, really just to make sure that I've got enough product sealing in those darker colors. Same thing, we'll pick up a small pearl, drain that out a little bit. I'm just going to blend that all the way back up into our corner here. And again, you guys, any of that color, any of that clear that gets up over the top of our, that lighter color, it's going to file off. So don't worry. And you kind of sometimes have to explain to your clients too, that even though right now this isn't looking all that great, and I understand that, you guys. I know some people are probably sitting out there thinking, woo, what is she doing on that nail? But again, once we do our filing, all of that other product up here is going to file off, and we're going to end up with a really nice crisp smile line because we did go through with that file to really perfect that. So I promise you our smile line is in there still. We're just going to wait until this nail dries. I'll file it up and we'll show you the smile line. We're going to add one more fun detail on the top of this. So hang on a second and we'll show you that. All right, you guys, we've got the nail filed up and ready to go. To finish this nail, we've got our Espresso Martini, but I'll tell you, anybody that's had an Espresso Martini, you know that it's got that little bit of frothy top to it. So that's what we're going to add on top of our nail here. We're going to finish this with a coat of Protein Bond. Make sure that you have that nice adhesive surface for your top coat to adhere to and our frothy surface to adhere to. And then we're going to go in with a coat of our Ultimate Finish top coat. And I love using this one for this technique because it is a tack-free top coat, so you don't have to worry about cleansing off any of that tacky surface. So we're going to start with one coat of the Ultimate Finish top coat over the whole nail, and then we're going to pop this into the light, and we're just going to freeze this for about 30 seconds. So again, just capping that whole nail, getting that really beautiful high shine on there, and into our light for 30 seconds. Our top coat is cured for 30 seconds. The reason that I wanted to cure it for just that 30 seconds is because we're going to apply a second layer onto this in just this back area. So just that lighter area, because that top area of our Espresso Martini is the only place that we're going to see that frothy surface. So we're only going to put our bubbles right up in that area. And for our bubbles, I've got a cup with a little bit of soap and water in there, so we've got that little bit of fluffy, frothy to it. I'm going to use my little mixing spatula. You could use kind of a cuticle pusher scoop or something like that, just to scoop up those bubbles. We're going to set those bubbles right down into that top coat, that uncured top coat. And get those on there. Be careful that you're not actually touching that top coat with the spatula. But we're going to grab our little curing light here. We're going to just kind of freeze that into place. We will give this a full cure, but you can kind of see that those little bubbles start to pop after you put them onto the nail. So that's why I like to use the little pen light to really kind of cure those into place, just to solidify them, and then we can do a full cure in the big light. So we'll set this to the side. We'll grab our full light here. We'll cure that for a full 60 seconds, and then I'll show you our final Espresso Martini nail. Okay, so our nail is cured out. We still have a little bit of those bubbles still on top of that nail. You can take either a lint-free wipe or just a table towel, kind of dry those off. But again, because we were using our Ultimate Finish, we don't have any tacky surface to wipe off. So we'll clean that off. And now you've got that little frothy surface on the top of our Espresso Martini and just a little bit of that coffee color and a little shimmer down underneath. So you guys, if you haven't tried them already, if you're of age, make sure you're of age, go ahead and try those Espresso Martinis and enjoy your Espresso Martini nails.